Hello, my name is Ram Banerjee. I'm from Transaxiom, which is a company that specializes in the supply of digital cash systems. Digital cash is effectively physical cash but made electronic. And just like physical cash, digital cash is a stored value system, which means that you carry the value with you. Typically in the form of a smart card. Any secure element will do, but this smart card is the easiest and the least expensive way of carrying around digital cash. It could also be used in the environment of a SIM card or a secure element within a phone. But in today's case, we shall talk about a contactless smart card. Now, the way that our protocol really, and it's a patented protocol, is different to anybody else out in the market. And our closest relative is really transportation systems, where you'd be carrying value on a contactless smart card and tapping in and out of buses and trains. The way that ours is different to anybody else's is that we don't have a security module within the merchant terminal to collect value as you go on making payments. Despite that, we can perform very fast, that's less than 300 milliseconds, transactions securely and offline. Nobody else can do this. And I thought I'll show you today how we do this. Central to what we do is the concept of the one-way function. The one-way function is a very simple mathematical device which says that if you start from a given point, then if you go to the next element, you're able to do that using a mathematical function that here we'll simply call f, which allows you to go from the previous to the next one with a relatively simple calculation. And you can do this until the end of your chain. Let's say the chain is n units long, and you perform this function every time to go to the next element in the chain. The beauty about these functions is that it's very easy to traverse forward in the chain, but practically impossible to traverse backwards. And as a result, these things are therefore called one-way functions. We use one-way functions quite extensively. And there's three components to our system. There's the issuer, and I will draw this in quite a large square. So there's the issuer who owns the system and is responsible for its policing. And as you might expect with any system, the first thing that you do is you start off with a secret number. And this secret number is rather than number, it's probably better to just call it a key. This secret key is generated obviously randomly. And this key is shared with the user's secure smart card. So this is done at the time of personalization. So the secret key is personalized into the smart card. This secret key is valid for a particular batch of end user cards. So whereas this is the issuer, this is the user or user's card. Secure device, contactless. So we have then one more function available to the issuer. and this function is called the generator function. And this generator function produces within the issuer, within the security of the issuer, what we call a pre-image. Now the input parameters to this pre-image is a series of items known as, collectively, as the seed. And the seed comes from a combination of data that the issuer has and data that is provided by the merchant. So this is the merchant. The merchant is going to be the receiver of value, the user is going to be the sender of value, the issuer is going to be the generator of value. The merchant, one time and one time only, registers with the issuer and is provided with a merchant ID. And then the merchant gives various parameters to the issuer, such as I want to accept £1 coins, I want to accept this many. It's almost like a merchant going to a bank and say, I'll be taking lots of change today. Can you give me 7 plastic bags for £1 coins, 5 bags for £2 coins, and I'll need a bag for 50p's, 20p's, 10 pence, and so forth. And what the issuer does, it generates the equivalent, the electronic equivalent of these bags. And it does so by taking this pre-image and creating the image that is the end of the one-way chain using the function f repeatedly. So this is the end image. And these two items are placed in a data block, which is typically about 32 bytes long. And this we call the encounter. And this encounter is sent to the merchant device. And this encounter has within it the seed and the image. And a whole series of these encounters are sent for every currency type, for every denomination of notes and coins it wants to receive, and for every set of cards. Card batches can be 100,000. So you may have a few hundred of these keys, of these encounters. Within the merchant terminal. But even 1,000 of them is only 32 kilobytes. So it's not a huge memory requirement. So what happens during a transaction? So this encounters, this is all generated initially at the start of day. This has been done at personalization, and the card has been issued to the consumer. The consumer can go online. This card does have a unique number that the issuer knows, and there's a loading protocol by which we can create a balance. And this balance will have value in it that is contained within the secure card. So what happens is that a typical transaction, let's say that this encounter is 100 long and is meant for £1 coins. So the encounter is literally the equivalent of a bag meant for £1 coins that can hold up to 100 £1 coins. At the moment, it's got X100 in there, which means it's the end of the chain, and the end of the chain represents zero value. If there was a X99, that will be equivalent to £1. And X98 would be equivalent to £2. So the end of the line, if it's a chain that's 100 long, is equivalent to £0. So as you go up the chain towards its beginning, so the value of the chain representation rises. So what happens is that at the time of payment, the merchant effectively sends the end counter to the card. It's almost like the merchant saying, here's my current bag of money. I want you to put some money in there and give it back to me, and I'll be able to weigh it and know that if you've stuffed 2 more £1 coins in it. Because knowing the secret key, and the card also knows the generator function G, the card is able to create the pre-image. And say that the merchant wanted a £1 payment from the card. What the card does, it goes down, calculates the length of the chain until it reaches the image that is being provided by the merchant. In this case, because the merchant had £0, it would be X100 that the merchant will be sending it. And it reaches X100 down here. The fact that it's reached X100 before the length of the chain has expired means that that's a genuine merchant. Because the merchant provided this image, that image could only have been generated by the issuer. So I, as the payer, have authenticated the merchant as being genuine. And because the merchant wanted a £1 payment, sent that command in. What happens is that having reached the image that was sent, we then go back to -1. We go back to X99. And that image, X99, is sent to the merchant. The merchant is incapable of generating X99 because it doesn't know how to create the beginning of the chain. Because to do so, you need the G function. The G function is only available in the security of the issuer and the security of the user card. What the merchant now does, it performs the function f, which it does know. Everybody knows the function f going forward, and it reaches X100. It then takes that result and the image it started off with and says, is that true or false? And if it's true, if they are both the same, then that means that the merchant has been paid. And he knows that he's been paid 1 unit because he took the result of this, performed the one-way function once, and got to the same image that he had before. So now he knows that the card was genuine and that the card paid him 1. Doesn't know the identity of the card. In fact, no value has been transferred because what happens is that the user balance here will simply have £1 deducted from it before the X99 was sent. So if this were to repeat, then the X99 will now take place of the image And because the merchant has now got £1, he's literally got £1 coin in his plastic bag, or the electronic equivalent. He'll now give X99, it'll go down to X99, go back one to X98, give X98, it'll take it forward to X99 and say, yes, I've been paid £1 again. Which means that the payment is not based on the content of the message, but the context of the message. If you repeat £1 transactions using this mechanism, then gradually the responses will be higher and higher pre-images until that counter is full, and then it automatically goes to another counter. And in this way, we need no security within the merchant device. You can actually duplicate counters, but you can only redeem them once with the issuer, because the issuer will know that this counter has already come to me, because there is a unique ID with every counter, and it can calculate that, and it says that you've already redeemed this once. In very much the same way, you can take a bag that's got £2 on it, go and redeem it, keep that bag until you go to the top and redeem it again, and the issuer will say, well, you've redeemed £2 from it before, I'm now going to give you the rest of the money. And in this way, we need not have a SAM within the merchant device. The issuer knows the identity of every user, knows the identity of every merchant. The user can authenticate the merchant, and the merchant can authenticate the payment. Yet there is no ID information being pushed from the user to the merchant as there might be in a credit or debit card transaction. There is no user identifiable information. Only the value is transferred. And as a result, this system has no concept of ID theft. Therefore, this merchant can be any device in any public environment. It needs no special security, and the entire merchant software, the merchant terminal software, can just be a downloaded piece of software running within an open device such as an NFC phone. I hope that's been useful. If you have questions, as always, feel free to get in touch with us. Thanks very much.